What's a surefire way to mess up your police hiring process at any point in time during all the phases? Let's discuss. Hey, before we get started, listen, those gifts are down in the description. The Getting Started workshop is going to walk you through each phase of the hiring process. There's some hidden bonuses in there to help you through the hiring process. And it's really going to give you that underlying information you need to know to make it through. Additionally, if you have something more specific that you want to discuss, maybe some of your hurdles, maybe some of your background or stages that you're having trouble getting through, reach out to a free coaching call for me. Both of those are down in the description. Use both of them. Definitely use both of them. And I'm always here to help. Now, what is the number one thing you can do to really delay or stop your hiring process? And when you do this, it's actually going to make you either removed from the process or removed and not able to apply for possibly another year or so. And that is not looking at and answering emails. Let's break this down here a little bit. So you're going to get emails all the time, and these emails are going to tell you, hey, do this, or hey, bring this documentation with you, or hey, your meeting scheduled at this time, please arrive 30 minutes early, please check in at this location. If you do not read these emails thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly, and read them again and again, make sure you're not missing anything. These are not emails that you can skim, because every bit of information in these emails is going to pertain to the next phase or the next thing you need to accomplish. So if you don't take the time to read them and reread them and make sure you have everything you need to, you're just shooting your whole hiring process with that department or agency right in the foot. There's pretty much at this point, there's nothing that can be done once you make that mistake. You can go back and say, hey, I apologize, I forgot this. But if you're not reading these emails thoroughly, then you're going to be in a tough spot, most likely. And I've seen this time and time again with applicants. They'll show up for a PT test and they're supposed to bring their documents approved by a doctor, right? Saying, hey, I'm eligible to complete or compete. And then on top of it, they need their documents saying, hey, their liability documents signed. Sometimes it even needs to be notarized, and it's not notarized. Then you're just done. You're not going to move past the physical exam portion. And that's just kind of what it is. So if you're not checking your emails regularly and reading them, and it slips by, so that's the big excuse, right? I see this happen all the time. That is your big excuses. I didn't see it, or it was in my spam folder. I'll be honest, we don't care. We don't care when we're reviewing background documentation. We don't care when you're applying to the process. We have so many applicants, and while applicants may be down, we're still not shy of applicants. There's still enough applicants to fill the billets. The problem right now is trying to fill the billets with trying to keep up with the billets that need to be filled. That's the best way to say it. So anyway, I digress. Getting back to it, checking your email. You need to open these emails. You need to be when you're in the police hiring process, you need to be religious about this. Every single day, Monday through Friday, checking your email. I would be checking it Saturday and Sundays too. However, there's a good chance you're not going to receive an email on the weekend, but I've seen it. I've seen weekends go out on the email, or weekends. I've seen emails go out on the weekends. There we go. Where they're either scheduled that way, or they do have some administrative staff working on the weekends. So I would be, if I'm in the hiring process, and when I'm in the hiring process, I am checking my email. I am hitting inbox 0 every single day, because I'm going to get all caught up. And then from there, I'm going to be checking it every single day to make sure there's nothing from an unknown source that might be attached to the police department, or might be from the HR department. These are really, really critical aspects to your hiring process. And every single hiring rotation, I see this over and over. Every single hiring rotation, I have coaching members that do the exact same thing. And I tell them, even with all this training I give them, they still do it. And hey, we can hope for the best. We can send an email saying, hey, I apologize, and I'm sorry this is late. there's a good chance they're just going to remove you from the hiring process. And then there goes that department, and if they have another open billet and they said, hey, you're eligible to reapply, but a lot of times they put 30, 60, 90 or 30, 60, 90 days or 1 year holds on reapplications, especially if you failed to submit documentation or failed to show up at a correct time. So the emails are not just about documentations, but that's where I see a lot of issues. I see individuals showing up to events or to phases where they don't have the proper documentation, or they didn't do what they need to prepare, right? They didn't do what they needed to in order to come in for that. So if you have a combination written exam and physical exam, they might say, hey, come in your business attire, take your written exam, go do your physical exam, and then come back and then shower, change back into your business attire and do your board interview, right? It just depends. And it can really, if you don't read through your entire email, you might miss that. You just might say, hey, scheduling physical and written exam. And you think, oh man, I can just show up in a casual or business casual, attire, and then do my written, have my duffel bag full of my gym stuff, work out or do the PT test, and then I'm done. But you missed that part. It says, if you pass, you will be moved forward to the board, right? And, or you will be moved to the interview. And it's unclear if the interview is that day or a different day, or it might even say it's that day, and you just completely miss it. And I don't want that to happen to you. So you really do have to be inbox zero every single day when you're going through this process. If you're not, you can tell it upsets me, because it's such a pointless and worthless way to lose out on a position, right? Don't let that be you. It's going to happen. I understand. Listen, there's sometimes where I messed up on emails and things like that, but it's so frustrating to me, because it happens every single time. And no matter how much I say this and how much I prep people, it's still going to happen. But it's not going to happen to you, right? You're not going to let it happen to you. This training right here is going to prevent you from doing that. So inbox zero, read the entire email, make sure that you fully understood and understand currently what is expected of you. And then if it's, say it's an exam or a board interview and it's been scheduled for a month, right? And you haven't really thought about it. You just say, hey, no, I know I have my board interview. I've been preparing for it. I've been practicing my interviewing techniques, been practicing good articulation. And at the same point, but I was doing that and I haven't read that email in 3 weeks. Well, then get back in there and read it, right? Read it before, especially the day, more than the day before. Read it the week before, because what if it says, hey, you got to bring this notarized packet and it's your background packet with you, so that if you pass your board interview, you can immediately go into your pre-screening for your background interview. That happens all the time. And then people show up and they take their board interview and they say, hey, can I have the documentation that was emailed to you? And they say, what documentation? And they never downloaded or printed out, because it had so many different attachments, and a couple of them were images. So they thought, hey, they all were images. I've heard this multiple times, as you can tell. And they just didn't print out the background packet. And now they're sitting there. They are ready to take a board interview, or they just passed their board interview and they're sitting there getting fingerprinted, or sitting there waiting for the background interview to start. And their investigator says, hey, where's your packet? And you don't have it. Or my favorite one, they print out the packet, they fill it out last minute, it's over the weekend, your board and your interviews are that Monday, and you don't have time to get it notarized. And then you show up with it not notary. It's failure to follow directions. At that point in time, you're not my most qualified candidate, right? You're not my best selected candidate. I'm going to look at other individuals who came properly prepared, and it's all because they read an email. They opened and read an email. They check their spam folders, they check their social folders, they check their main inbox, and they've been checking it every single day. Okay, bam, got that email as soon as possible. A lot of times you're going to get these emails where it says, hey, this is so-and-so, I've been assigned your case. Please schedule a meeting with me within the week, right? And you don't check you check your email twice a week. You check it on Monday morning, right? Okay, no big deal. But then I emailed you Monday afternoon, and then you don't check it again till Friday morning or Friday evening, and I wanted you to schedule a interview with me that week. I mean, at that point in time, you're not getting in. You didn't follow directions. You didn't check your email. It is so critical. It's like I said, it's such a tedious thing to do, but it's so critical in your hiring process that I cannot tell you how many applicants make this mistake. It is such a reoccurring issue. And unfortunately, even though it might not represent you, it reflects your character and who we perceive you as, right? First impressions and everything along those lines. It's just not the way you want to go. It's not the way I want you to go. So check your inbox, read your emails thoroughly. Okay, so you're going to check your inbox every day. Then you're going to read the email thoroughly. And then you're going to put it down on your calendar. Hey, I have this, but you're going to make another schedule on your calendar to reread the email at least a week or a few days prior to whatever event's coming up. So if you say, hey, let's say it's Monday, I send you the email saying, hey, good morning, my name's Frank. I'm your assigned background investigator. I would like you to complete this packet and then email it back to me by Friday, right? And then you see it, you look at it, and then all of a sudden you come back and on Wednesday, you read it again and you say, hey, it needs to be notarized prior to you sending it back to me. And then you say, oh, well, hang on. Now I got to go make sure it's done prior to notarization so that you can confirm that everything is accurate. It's little things like that can get you tripped up and make you start back as here. And you don't want to get halfway through the process or through the board interview and drop the ball because of an email mishap. So, and we really don't accept excuses. Now, if we like you as a candidate, we can choose to move forward and give you a break, but any goodwill you've built up during that time is going to be knocked down a little bit, if not completely, with that issue. So keep that in mind. All right. Check your email every day, inbox 0 while you're going through the police hiring process. I'm not saying you have to do that all the time, but inbox 0 while you're going through the police hiring process. And then read the emails thoroughly. Get back to them ASAP. Do not make them wait on you. Even if you have to get them documentation, email them back immediately and say, hey, contacted the individuals I need for documentation. They say they should have it to me on this day. As soon as I get it, I'll send it over to you. Bam, perfect email, very respectfully, Frank McGaha. And then from there, recheck that email prior to the due date, significant time prior to the due date. Don't wait the day before the due date and say, you know what, Frank said I need to reread that email. No, significantly prior. If it's something due that week, read it a few days prior. If it's something due at the end of the month, read it at least a week prior so you have time to get everything you need. Listen, those gifts are still down in description. They're going to help you with this. A lot of this stuff is expounded even further detail in the Getting Started workshop, plus the hidden bonuses that will help you through each phase. So jump on that. It's free for you, and it's a gift from me to you. Additionally, another gift is the one-on-one free coaching call. If you have some questions that are specific to you and you want to ask and you want some good answers and you want to know what's the likelihood, what's my eligibility rating for getting hired, jump on a call with me. I'll be glad to help you. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.